Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few different things. I'm not real good at this. I'm not good at doing any of these long form videos, so I'm going to try and do these in segments and I might just tie them all together. I want to talk about trauma in a variety of ways. The types of trauma I had, not these specific acts, but just kind of how I felt when I was going through it. Um, and maybe some things that have resulted from it, and what the future has looked like for me since then. When I was 6, I was just starting in kindergarten, first grade. I think it was kindergarten when this all started. So I had a very common problem, but apparently it wasn't common enough for people to understand what I was going through. And the funny thing is that it took actually my ex-wife telling me that this was a normal problem, that they could have given me medication for what I was dealing with, and everything would have been okay. It's a little late for that now. So when I was 6 years old, I was a laughy kid. I laughed all the time, and it started then, and things just kept being the same thing. I just got older and I was going through the same thing, and older and through the same thing. And this happened for a decade, from kindergarten till probably my last year of high school. And I didn't know it was trauma. I didn't know what I was experiencing that could have been fixed was trauma. I had no idea. I didn't get an answer from nurses, from teachers, from principals, from my own parents, from my pediatrician at the time, my, you know, the church pastors. None of them had an answer for me. But it just end up making me feel like I was a weird kid. I think the trauma overall just kind of made me there. And then I had something happen when I was 11. It was a one-time incident. And that's the one that really kind of scarred me for the rest of my life. It kind of laid low because the other problem was so bad. I didn't think about the second problem until after I got out of high school. So the second thing really, that's the thing that really, between the two things, I ended up feeling like I was the weird kid. When I walked through life, even at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, I looked at how other kids moved through life. I looked at how I moved through life. Even at that age, I felt way different than my classmates. And the worst part of all this is that I was in a small school. It's not like I could hide. 80% of the people that I graduated high school with were the same people that I started kindergarten with. Small town, small school, gossip moves fast. They hear what happened to me, they talk amongst their friends, and then you just start feeling like the outcast. And going to church doesn't save you if you're a kid. First of all, if your parents are going to church like mine did, you're guilted into going. You can't get out of going to church services. You can't get out of going to youth groups. They will guilt you into submission. They won't come outright and say, well, you can't not go to church. They'll just guilt you into it. And the kids that go to, church youth groups, no different than the kids that go to school. They're the same people. they'll still treat you like an outcast, regardless of where they're treating you like an outcast at. There were youth group events where I I could tell that some adults had talked to these kids to try and make me fit in. But newsflash, folks, I can figure out when you're trying to make me feel better versus actually trying to make me feel better. It's no different than in school when you're going to PE class and you are the last person picked because no one wanted you. Same difference. Church, school, same difference. I mean, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. All of this stuff has really affected having friendships at that age. I only had a couple of friends. They were great friends. I knew them for over a decade. I lost touch with them over the years, but when they were around, they were great. It's just I couldn't develop new friendships. I haven't had a new friend in probably 25 years. It's been a long time. So the bad things when it comes to dealing with these kinds of things, what trauma does to you, it affects how people see you, how you see people. Because I read everybody. If I go into a room, I am scanning everybody, whether it's for my job or personally. If I go in somewhere, I am constantly looking at people. I'm trying to figure them out. So it kind of messes with you because your brain doesn't turn off. It feels like it's going 24/7. I don't even have another explanation for it. It affects my sleep. I don't sleep more than like 5 hours at a time. Um, I find that, maybe I read something and it kind of almost gives me memories of those times I'd like to forget. It doesn't go away. It's also really hurt my ability to have friendships because of all these things that happen. I can't imagine putting somebody through trying to be a friend with me. I don't know. Maybe it'll soften over time, but it's been 25 years. I don't know if it will. But on the same hand, this also has done a few things positively depending on how you look at it. So, because I'm reading the room, that means that I'm constantly processing and I can read a room pretty quick. I can read people pretty quick. I can sense energy from somebody, whether it's fake or real. So, from that vantage point, it's done that. Um, Also, I guess because I don't trust people, I'm very autonomous. I can work by myself. I don't need people to get things done. Um, I'm usually pretty good at figuring out solutions to immediate problems. I'm very creative when it comes to that kind of stuff. Um, so I usually don't need much help. I usually have a way of figuring out problems because I haven't had anybody to count on in that 25 years. I think it also caused me to really, I think part of that, reading people, things like that, it's really kind of caused me to be super focused in to people. So when people are talking to me, I talk to them about what they're talking to me about. I'm not giving a canned answer. I'm not giving a fake response. I am giving you, if you're talking to me, I'm giving you my attention. So if you're talking to me and you think I'm not paying attention, ask me. More than likely, even if I'm not looking at you, I'm hearing everything you're saying. I'm watching body expressions, facial expressions. So I'm always constantly evaluating how to be able to talk to you if you're talking to me. So AI was very helpful in figuring out what's wrong with me. I probably spent 12 hours going over, sending prompts to the AI programs, having it send it back to me. And I know it seems like, why would you tell AI your life story? Because maybe I just needed to tell somebody. When you don't have friends, AI is a very valuable tool in getting honest feedback. Even though it's a little optimistic, the base of the information it gives you is invaluable. And I found for me, and it may not be for you, but definitely for me, it was probably just as important to figure out what the problem is as much as it is trying to figure out what the solution is. Because I would rather be 80% okay than 50% okay. No different than if you had a broken bone. Let's say you broke your arm, but you're told you won't have 100% use of it for the rest of your life, but you will have 95% of it. Wouldn't you'd take the 95% and live with it for the rest of your life, wouldn't you? No different. So I feel better at least knowing what's wrong with me. The next step is maybe therapy. Maybe I just live with what I have right now. Either way, I feel way better off now than I did when I was 6.